Ka te kia ora no mai rā tātou. Kia ora everybody, now that you've had your morning tea and have warmed up a wee bit, I'd like to welcome you to the Māori plenary session with the overarching title, Ko te amorangi ki mua, ko te hāpai o ki muri. To open the session, I'm calling upon Catherine Hazelwood, who is Acting Principal Advisor in Numeracy and Literacy at TEC, and following on from her will be Ria Tomoana. But over to you, Catherine.
Thanks, Joe. Kia ora everyone, tilo whalawa, malo e lile. Hi, my name's Catherine Hazelwood. I've been working in the Numeracy and Literacy team for the last year, and I've been looking after the Waka project, and it's my great pleasure today to be introducing this next session. It's all about the digital, which is really follows on from what Terry was talking about. So today we're going to be launching a prototype. It's a resource for you. Ria's going to go through it. But I thought I'd just start with talking about what Waka is, if you don't already know. It's professional development that TEC funds, and it's all about looking at ways to better engage the Māori and Pasifika learner. And I think, and again, mirrors what Terry is saying. It's sort of talking about starting from where the learner is, and it also challenges tutors to have that self-awareness. It's currently a workshop-based model with a team of excellent facilitators. We challenged Waka this year to push it more into something that's more sustainable. The current model of full-day workshops scattered around the country is going to be really hard to sustain. So we're looking at how do we bring the elements of Waka, which is the content, those facilitators, and the real practical exercises they bring with them. So today is, it is really pushing the boundaries, and I think, I hope that you're going to find this resource challenging for you. The reason we're launching it as a prototype is because we want to understand how you could use it in your delivery. So Ria will talk through more of the details, but yeah, I hope you enjoy it.
Catherine. Tēnā koutou, ko tiatiawa ki waiwhetu, Ngāti Kahungunu me Ngāti Pāhauera o ka iwi, ko Ria Tomoana taku ingoa. I'm one of the project managers for Waka. I'm normally hidden in some office somewhere, but I've been working on this digital resource that we've been challenged to do. And as Catherine's already alluded to, it's all about lifting capability. We work specifically in the Māori and Pasifika learner outcomes space, how to lift capability with our educators there. And yes, before I preview this resource, I just want to, it's important to acknowledge where we come from, and many of you will know the 2 DVDs that TEC produced. You know, that's a good model, capture people's expertise so they can take it and share it. People can take it back to their own workspace and learn from it. So, you know, acknowledge that, and now we're in 2016 and we're moving on. So we videoed our facilitators, had a weekend away, we caught them presenting their tips and strategies and their energy. We went to some Māori and Pacific events, authentic Māori and Pacific events, to capture that as well. We had some webinars that Ben from NZCR produced for us. And the next question was, we've got a selection of resources, how do we make them engaging for educators so they want to engage with it and actually get the learnings from it? And we could host our collection of resources on our website. We currently do that for something else we do at Akawa Aotearoa. We could do it through Prezi, but many of you can get sick watching things in Prezi. I can see some faces already, or maybe that's me. So we came up with a digital flipbook. And what that does is it creates these resources. It takes the resource from our 2 workshop booklets. It takes the knowledge from our facilitators that we've captured in video and audio and puts them into a web-based product so you can access it anywhere, on your phone, on a tablet, and your PC. And that's one of the best things about this, is its accessibility. Whew. So this is what it looks like. If you get it at URL, you can just move my mouse to get that little thing there. you'll see on the screen there's these video cameras, or cameras, old cameras, and if you click on it, it plays the video clip.
Telephone, my name is Pele Sani, born in Samoa and moved to New Zealand when I was just a young boy.
Sorry, I just want to do short ones because I want you to come over to our desk later and see all the other clips we've got. There's 19 different clips. A Māori workshop booklet, a Kawaron Whanaungatanga, a Pasifika one, the Pasifika Wave. So, I'll go back to here. No. And this is about that challenging space of the digital age. So there's two ways that you can test drive this. You can come to our table, which is just over there by the Kai table. Good location. We've got sticky notes. We've got 4 tablets and headphones. You can sit and listen to it and write your little comments on the sticky notes and put it on a white piece of paper that's there. Or you could sign up to register to be a more thorough test driver, and we'll collect everyone who registers, and in a couple of weeks we'll send you out a URL. We can't, if 50 people register, I'm not going to be collating 50 people's feedback. So what we're looking at getting to spread across roles, across organisations. We'll send you out a URL and instructions on how to do it, and that's how that's going to go. Sorry, I wasn't even talking about this. And I guess what Catherine said, this isn't our resource. It's not He Taonga Waka's, it's not TSC's, it's all of ours. And so your feedback will make this valuable for all of us to use. Kia ora.
Phew, thank goodness that worked, Ria.
I know.
Ria is a wonderful worker. She's spent lots and lots of hours in the last few weeks becoming a geek, and so she's produced this wonderful resource for us. I'd like to invite to the podium at this stage Rene Babbington, who's one of our team. She has 15 minutes, and her talk under the banner of Māori, of Ko Te Amorangi Ki Mua, her specific talk is entitled Whakamana I Te Akonga. She is of Aitanga Mahaki, Ngā Ariki, Kaiputahi and Kahungunu descent, so that's very much Hawke's Bay, Gisborne. And she is manager of Te Whare Whai Mātauranga o Tūranga. Give me a kiss. Good luck.
Kia ora, Joe. Kia ora koutou. Ko manga haumi te maunga, ko manga tū te awa, ko manga tū te marae, ko Ngāri ki kaiputahi te iwi, ko Rene Babbington ahau. I'd just like to say it's lovely to be here today and to be able to have the opportunity to be able to present honouring our learners. Whakamana I te akonga. First of all, I'd just like to mihi to kanui te mihi ki a ripeka mo ana rawa ko Jessica Kerwin, mo a rawa kōrero whakaro me tohu. There are 2 learners that agreed to become part of the presentation. So here we go. So we make critical differences in people's lives and strive to critically reflect on our practice to better honour learners. For Māori, what is needed to honour the Māori learner as a whole person beyond the literacy and numeracy gains. So here we have 5 points, and I'd just like to present those to you and go through our slide. So it's like, what are innovative literacy and numeracy practice? What works well for learners? What's been their literacy and numeracy journey? And what does an educator do to make a learner feel safe? And how do we honour our learners? What I've got up here is rangatira. By honouring their uniqueness, every learner brings with them their own rangatira, which is our unique blueprint, that is often expressed in the natural talent that who we are. So I bought my own Gisborne sunset today, because you all know that Gisborne is the first city in the world to see the sun, and for Gizzy people, this is our unique blueprint. And so anyone from Gisborne, and I know there's a table there, we would say, yes, we're the first city to see this one. Hey, right down the back as well. So it's about that. It's about being aware of a learner's culture and allowing them to share that. So I share that with you, and us from Gisborne share that with you. Recognising the mana of the Māori learner. So it's about keeping that mana up and, not tramping on their mana, as we say. Know that confidence and well-being are important for Māori learners and their whānau. So we don't just come as one person, we come as a whole whānau when we come in to learn. So it's not just the learner that you're got, it's everything to do with the learner. Connecting, collaborating and sharing with people interested in new ideas and ways of doing things. And that's about leading into an innovative model. Our next slide is one of our learners, and Jessica talks about when she first came to class.
My name is Jessica. I like when being here makes me feel happy, and I used to get picked on at school, so I'm learning the road home with Rosina and learning about different signs. I want to learn how to drive a car before the end of the year and help stop Nana nagging in my ear about my learners.
So here's Jessica, who's come to do the driver licence with us. So to embrace Jessica and to make her feel part of the whānau, looking at the innovative literacy and numeracy practices, we have a symbolic relationship, which is whanaungatanga, which is about everyone having a relationship with that one individual person or with the whole group. So harakeke links us, our past with the present and future, and connects us with our environment. So as we're learning, we know that it's not just about the classroom, it's about everything that's around us. As we know, everything has a whakapapa, and it's the whakapapa is about the connection and the relationship with people. So when whanaungatanga is fostered, learners learn the value of working together. Another important feature of whanaungatanga is that it is made visible through the actions people take. One of the other things is looking at developing pedagogy, which is a central part of learning, to the learner, to learning. Pedagogy in the classroom needs to be based upon the culture of the learner and taking new learning into one of our own pedagogy and planning around that person with their culture. So of course we've got all different cultures that come into us. In Gisborne we have predominantly, it's Māori anyway, so at Adult Literacy Tūranga in Gisborne, our centre is like a marae, because I've been 30 years a marae person, so I can't help but live as I do. So at home and at work, it's all about being whānau. It's important for learners to make connections with their tutor and with other learners so that they come together and observe what their literacy and numeracy journey is all about. So when we're looking at that, we're going into a space or ensuring learners feel part of the learning process. And I have another video here of another one of our learners, which is Ripeka. Oh, sorry, she's supposed to talk.
She reaches to our heart. How she does that is only Rosina knows, but you can feel that you want to participate in the class, because I'm happy to just sit there and shut up. But in the classroom we're all encouraged to talk when it's time to talk. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's times to be quiet and it's times to talk.
So it's all about that whanaungatanga and being able to do things that we do. Our next slide is we're looking at preparing for the big picture. So when we have our harakeke, the next thing we do, we've got to prepare it and what we're going to do with it. So at Literacy, we are in Literacy Aotearoa, we are a student-centred learning provider. So everything, when the student comes into the centre, It's all about that student. We hone into that. What does the student want? How are we going to help them? How's it going to make it better for them when they leave us? So building and developing student roles, we use these strengths and then look at developing their weaknesses. So it's all around that coming together. We support learners to develop their confidence. The tutor utilises learners' prior knowledge to plan, implement and evaluate their learning needs. So we don't just do it off a blank canvas. The actual learner is going to help us to devise their learning plan. Building fundamental relationships to ensure shared learning and making connections between learning in classroom and the real world. So while they're here, they've got whānau, they've got a life outside of our classrooms, and so we connect everything to that. We don't just make it, you're here, this is the class, I'm the teacher, you do what I say and I'll tell you what you need to know. The tutor encourages the learner to take personal responsibility in their pursuit of engagement and achievement and ascertain what works well for the learners. So our next slide is communication between the learner and tutor should be clear.
He understands on a Wednesday I do work in the morning and I come up here after work, and he understands if I have a hearing problem. Yeah. And he'll say, am I talking too softly or am I talking loudly?
So the importance of relationships and listening to students works well for where to from there. The next one is weaving the strands of harakeke, and it's about the tutor who pays attention to details. She gets, and that's how we do it with our weaving as well, as if we have weavers in here. So it's paying attention to the details. She gets to know how the learner thinks and what she can do to help them learn. Working with students and providing individual attention. The more you help them learn, and working with students, the more you understand about the learner, the more effective you can be. So spending the necessary amount of time with each learner in conversation and in activities that can help them. So it's not just, I want to learn how to read and then you sit there and then we'll get to that because we're going to do reading today. Tutors share power with the learners through the creation of cooperative learning environments where the learner can determine when they need help and when they can learn from each other, taking in the ako process that we have. So establishing effective context for learning requires the tutor to value learners. And again, we have another,
He makes me feel comfortable, and he explains the road home a bit more. He helps me out when I ask for help, and he makes me do what I want to do on the tablet, and if I'm stuck I go and ask for help. He believes I can do it on my own.
So by providing a comfortable environment, the tutor gets the learner's buy-in. So sowing the seeds of knowledge, the tutor is seen by the learners as the motivator. So like the tui, he goes and puts his beak into the flower like it does and takes that from that flower to the next flower. Sowing the seeds is about sowing the seeds of success, of knowledge, of learning, of faith, and it's all about how we can help the learner, and it's about sowing that seed. Okay, acknowledgement of, so the tutor looks at, we're looking at providing, and we do, and we all do this, providing 21st century learning, and it's looking at blended learning, utilising cell phones within a learning context, and a willingness to try new approaches. Acknowledgement of prior learning, what makes learning fun, and what does an educator do to make a learner feel safe. The importance of being culturally responsive as such.
We put it into such plain, simple language. Very, very simple. Yeah, she's talking to you like you met her, that you're a real person sitting in that chair. You're not just not a silly old lady sitting in that chair. And then when she talks to that person over there, she looks at them, she doesn't turn her back to the board or, you know, how we get distracted by something. If you're going to talk to me, look at me. Talk to me, call me by name. She's lovable, she loves us. You can feel the love without her saying that. She doesn't say, I love you. No, you just feel it, that there's this. And I actually think, she's confident in herself. Her self-worth, her self-value is way up here. Yeah. And it helps us to reach for something that's intangible.
So growth and that's the calibre of one of my tutors that does that to her learners. And the growth mindset is, what does an educator do to make a learner feel safe? And the tutor is someone who exhibits belief in the learners through their actions and words. She believed in me. Those words and actions flow from that personal mindset. The tutor also exhibits belief in herself. She is confident and knows who she is. Using the kōwaio concept, which we all do with our learners. Kōwaio, if you don't know who you are, we need to go through that pathway first. So the learner already knows it, the tutor already knows it. If the tutor doesn't know it, how do you expect them to get the learner to do it? So it's important for tutors to make connections with their learners and vice versa. So the next one is, did I go back? The potential exponential, and this is just getting to the end.
I was shy when I first came, but I built my confidence in something new, and I'm enjoying it.
And I'm here with literacy, Aotearoa, by chance, really. By chance. I mean, I've learned heaps about personal development. For me, it's about personal development and letting go the pain of the past. I didn't know how to do that. I can do it now. Life is exciting for me. I can see a future now. I didn't see that when I was young.
So transformation and celebrating success. Ripika Moana came to do weaving, and Jessica came to sit her licence and actually said it before our hui atau and got it before, in July. But getting to know the learner and celebrating their successes is key to meeting their literacy needs. Transformation is a joy to behold, and Jessica experienced that when she achieved her driver licence. Rebecca has transformed how she makes meaning out of her world. Rebecca developed a new confidence and is sharing the knowledge she has gained with whānau. Celebrating success is valued by the learner, and we must honour our learners. Whakamana i te akunga. And we need to look through the eyes of our learners in order to become scholars of our own teaching. So, nō reira, tēnā koutou, take a photo.
I'm glad we didn't cut you off before we got to see the success story at the end. Thank you very much, Rene. Maybe a chance for one question at this stage, and perhaps we'll have more time after Bronwyn. Anyone with a burning question or comment?
Hāpai.
You might be off the hook. You gave all the answers. Kia ora, thank you very much, Rene. One more round of applause, please. I will now call to the podium Bronwyn Yates, who is the QSM, who is the Tumuaki, or Chief Executive of Literacy Aotearoa. And we work in very closely with Literacy Aotearoa, of course. Bronwyn is of Te Arawa, Maniapoto, Aitanga, Mahaki and Rongo Whakaata descent. And in terms of Literacy Aotearoa, they are the largest network of adult literacy providers throughout New Zealand. And Bronwyn has spent 20 years in adult and community education. So under the overarching theme of ko te amorangi ki mua, ko te hāpai o ki muri, I call Bronwyn Yates to the podium, please. O mai te rakata. She has 15 minutes, and I'll be putting up a little sign, 4 minutes.
Not that I'll listen to the timer, but we'll put it on for effect. Hang on. 15 seconds. Okay, starting now. That's all right. I'll just try to look at the clock too. Tēnā tātou katoa. Well, my friend here has done my ori, my whakapapa, so I'm all sorted now in terms of that. And darling Minister did slide the slide, so we're all sorted with that one. I do want to say it's awesome to be here today, and thank you very much, Diana and Joe, for the invitation. Ko te amorangi ki mua, ko te hāpai o ki muri. It's one of the whakataukia, I think, that for some of us we really appreciate, that it's about putting the vision before what we do, and then driving as the hāpai, as the helpers, to see it achieved. And so that's kind of how I want to start today, because actually today was quite a scary day. I hate speaking. Everyone who knows me knows it, and I apparently fake it till I make it, but it's awful. And I was thinking today in terms of maths, right, 15 minutes of pure terror. Do I really need to go through 70 hours and months, really, of thinking about it before getting here? What's the return on the investment there? Nothing. Anyway, so today was a scary but also a great day, and it was that because I got to ask the Minister a question, and I think we heard a yes. And, I should put my glasses on so I can see my notes. And I guess when I think about ko te amorangi ki mua and ko te hāpai o ki muri, and to think about the life that I have tried to lead in terms of providing first avenues and access for Māori learners within a framework that hopefully is reflective and honouring of our tipuna, I want to say that the hardest thing sometimes to do is to be the advocate, to ask the question when it seems like the dumbest and most unpopular thing in the room, but to actually still stand up and say it, because if you don't say it as a representative of students here, who will say it? You are their voice in this forum. And I say that to you because why not? You can be part of the hāpai, you can be part of the contributing, you already are. But to say that the scariest thing sometimes is to actually be that political advocate. Okay, so walk with me for a few minutes. About 12 more. Okay, slide one, this one. So the Minister talked about this. He talked about where we are in terms of OECD, in terms of PAC. He told us that we were 4th in terms of adult literacy. I don't know if he mentioned about problem solving. He talked about digital problem solving, but we're pretty good at that too. 5th in digital literacy and 13th in numeracy. He also noted that there's been an increased emphasis in workplace, and he's talked about the money that he's put in for 2016. Have I got it up there? Maybe not. 2016 and into 2017. And he talked about, first of all, his congratulation to us. And he noted that on the 28th of June or something, that we have made a difference. He acknowledged that publicly. Awesome, because this is the Minister who a few years ago said, unless you can tell me what difference I make and you can give me some evidence for it, my mates aren't going to back you. I will, but not my mates. Today, back then in June, he also acknowledged it. What he didn't talk about was a number of adults. This one here, how what we have done between 2010 and 2013 is we've quadrupled the number of adults that we're working with. So in 2010, it was 36,000, and now it's 175,000. Okay, I don't know how to do this. Okay. Which then, when you look at the PAC, and you look at, say, 300,000 roughly in level 1, and you think about, gosh, 300,000, in 2010 to 2013, we quadrupled and we went up to 175,000. Will that mean that in about 6 years' time we'll be done and dusted? Is that us gone? Am I, in fact, the dinosaur that some people already think I am? Possibly. So, if it wasn't even in, 4 years' time, so we go to 2020, could that be the ideal vision? Could it be that in 2020 we're out of our jobs? Could it be that? Well, you might say, luckily not. Because what we don't talk about a lot is that in level 2 through to level 1, there's about 1.29 million adults in that group who have literacy difficulties, not of the most urgent like in level 1, but still an urgency. That's 1.29 million, that's still around about 43, it hasn't changed, 43% of the adult population. Scary. I'll just read my notes again. Okay, so, what this means is that there is still a large need out there. What it means is in terms of PEAC, and I was talking about it over here with Jill Thomas, and she was saying, well, actually, Bronwyn, I think you need to look at the middle range in level 1, and you need to go to the middle range in level 2, and you work it out in there. And I said, yeah. But here's the thing about who dares to teach must never cease to learn. Anyone know this quote? No? Do you know who did it? That fellow down there, John Cotton Danner, I think. I don't say his last name, 1879. He was a librarian. He was the guy that took the books out and actually let you be able to touch them, the public. That was him. He was that guy. And he was asked for a quote for starting, I think it was a Newark library. And when he couldn't find one, he came with that. Those who dare to teach must never cease to learn. It's the thing I learnt back in 1980-something when I became a literacy tutor. And I have to say, it's always in my head. I challenge myself every day about what I need to learn more about. And so for me, read not necessarily someone who dares to teach, but someone who dares to be in education. What the 1.29 million adults represents to me is a whole pile, probably, of Māori and Pacific. Because what we know in that 1.29 million is that there's a predominance and an over-representation of Māori and Pacific. What you might not know about the PEAC findings is that in 2016, the Māori population in terms of our adult literacy need is the same as what it was proportionately for Pākehā back in 1996. So there's a 20-year lag between where Māori are at proportionately in the population to where Pākehā are. Scarily, Pacific are where Māori were 20 years before that. So when you start to look at that proportion of the 1.29 million being overrepresented for Māori and Pacific, know this, when we honour them, we have a hell of a lot more work to do to get that lag gone. It's just maths. But what it means is, when you look at the maths, it's about an equitable representation. So now, if you look at equity, it's not about putting in the same amount. We actually need to start putting in more. Okay. So that was why I used darling old he dares to teach. So having said that, where are we at now? We have the sector infrastructure, and, you know, give yourselves a quick clap, pat on back, whatever you want to do, because holy heck, what a whole lot of growth in the sector, eh? Look at what we've got in terms of an infrastructure. And I know, because I was there when there was no infrastructure, sadly. Oh no, it was good. It was a good time. But for us, back then, there were two people that we really, really admired. One was a woman called Rosalie Somerville. She started the Ala Federation back in 1972. She started with 100 schemes across the country, and it was all volunteering. The other person that we really admired was a woman called Noi Pewhairangi. And she went over and she learnt about the Cuisinare rods and how to teach te reo Māori through Cuisinare, and we now call that tātārangi. They were the founders, if you want to know about biliteracy for adults, they were the founders of that, two women. And since then, we've grown in terms of contributors. The wānanga, PTEs, universities, polytechs, researchers, ITOs, employers and beyond. We've had supportive ministers. Phil Goff in 1990 gave $80,000, I think, to the first workplace literacy grant, and at the same time gave $80,000 for the first Māori literacy initiative. What they did, as well as CEOs, was that they drew on the passion and the contribution of the people who were working in literacy, and for one moment they trusted us to go further. Why is that important? Because at the end of the day, what we've ended up with is this. And Nelson Mandela talks about it always seems impossible until it's done. So the infrastructure is now in place. What's interesting, and I just want to say this, is I ended up using this quote of Nelson Mandela because I can't find the one that I absolutely adore of his. And the one I adore of his is, it's the one that talks about great things aren't created on the stage of the state. They're created on the steps of the communities that support it. And you need to take another bow sometime later today to recognise your contribution, and to also to remember the likes of those people who you know who came before you to allow us to be here today. I want to talk about, so in this, you might think that they're slightly disconnected, but they aren't. But can I just talk about this one? So where I wanted to get to today when I'm talking about contribution to the vision and talking about Māori learners is Rene has talked about the value that tutors provide to learners. She's talked about the quality of tutoring that learners deserve. She's talked about the joy of learners as they succeed. And then the next question that we need to ask is what's the system that embodies that? What's the system that drives that to be respected? What's the system that grows that for Māori that goes beyond English and incorporates te reo? And last year, TEC funded a program, development of a strategy called Hāpai Puata. It had these key elements to it, and essentially, beyond everything else, what it recognised is that Māori learners aren't individuals, that they are part of families, that they are part of hapu, that they are part of iwi, and that if we want to start to address that lag, if we want to change the difference, if we want to make it the way that's going to work for Māori, one of the things we need to look at is working with their families, whānau literacy. So in Hāpai Puata, there was a statement in there that said, by 2020, quality in Māori adult literacy and numeracy provision will be characterised by a focus on whānau wellbeing. And so when Minister Joyce asks this morning, how will we know what works? We need to start to capture not only what works, but also what we value in terms of our literacy and numeracy gains beyond the gains and into the wellbeing. Am I doing this right? Oh, right. Yeah. Whānau literacy. Have any of you been delivering whānau and family literacy? Anyone done family whānau? Come on. No one? No one. Bless you. 2 minutes. Okay, this will be quick then. This is the part about whānau literacy that is incredibly important. Literacy skills are intergenerational. The reason my son has really good math skills is because I love maths and I saw maths eyes because my father had maths eyes and he taught me, we were counting wood as we stacked it. He was teaching me that 25 times 25 is 625 and that 35 times 35 is 1,225. He was teaching me those things when I was a kid. And all the kids in our family got that. So literacy is intergenerational. The way that we are going to address the issue of 50% of the kids coming out with insufficient literacy out of schools, numeracy out of schools, is to actually deal with their parents. Because beyond the 6 hours in school, who are they playing with? And we have some examples of good family literacy programs. We have Whānau Aramua. It's a program developed by Comet and Solomon Group. We have Flash, which is our group, our program that's called Family Literacy at School and Home. And I've got to say, the name is awesome. People go, oh, I went to my Flash course the other day. They don't actually know, Flash course. And then Talking Matters, which I think Alison's going to talk about tomorrow, which is about easy dialogue with your children to motivate and unlock their minds. There's undoubtedly lots more. But importantly, read what parents are saying. The kids are better for it. These are the adult learners. The kids are better for it. They're more into doing their homework. Children will come in proud that their parents are actually doing their literacy and numeracy, but more so it emboldens them to ask their parents at homework time how to help them. And like the school-age whānau member says, if she knows stuff, she teaches us stuff. Parents become generous not just about their time and their care, but their ability to teach. I'll just leave it with this. Sir James Henare has also made lots of quotes, and this is one that probably we all know. But this is at the end of the day so important. Ko tawhiti ke te haerenga mai, kia kore e haere tonu. He nui rawa o mahi, kia kore e mahi tonu. You have come too far not to go further. You have done too much not to do more. If we want to deal with the lags for Māori and Pacifica, all I'm going to say to you, 2 words, whānau literacy. Kia ora.
just before, thank you very much, Bronwyn.
5 seconds to go.
Wonderful. Please stay here.
am.
There's bound to be a question or two. We've got about 5 minutes to lunch. This one over here, please.
Hey. Oh, sorry. Kia ora, Marie. Thank you very much. Marie, just in case you don't know, Senior Policy Person at Ministry of Ed. Just saying.
I just wanted to ask you a question for a change. No, I was just wondering, you focus on whānau literacy and like literacy, Aotearoa literacy. But I was wondering, with the results of PIAC, it was a lot about that we need to do more for numeracy.
Yeah.
And I was wondering more, from your perspective, is there a need to focus funding more towards numeracy now than literacy? Is there a need within the community to look more at how we teach numeracy? Because we are very much, like with what you were saying, it was all about literacy.
Okay.
So just, wondering about the numeracy side.
There's multiple responses to this. So number one, I'm going to put in a plug in, bring back LLN, please. It is about literacy, but it's also about language as well as numeracy. So that's number one. Number two, in terms of numeracy, sometimes in order to do numeracy, you actually still need to be able to read the stuff. So literacy is actually connected to numeracy. That's number two. And number three, and here's the hard one, I don't know if we swapped to numeracy tomorrow, that half of the literacy tutors in the sector would swap with us. So in order to provide more emphasis and encouragement and resource around numeracy, my sense is we also need to build our capability up in our sector. But I could be wrong. I didn't answer your question though, because I think at the end of the day, here's the other side of it. 175,000 learners have been worked with or have received literacy and numeracy assistance. 1.29 million have issues that they want maybe addressed in some way. Some don't even know that they have issues, and if they know that they've got the issues, it's not that they don't know that they want to do anything about it yet. There is no reason for them to change their lives. That's where whānau literacy comes in, because every parent that has been interviewed by a myriad of people want a different life for their children than they had, and that motivates them to deal with their numeracy as well as their literacy. So first off, let's just get some more money and then we'll talk after that. Mwah! No more questions?
Yay.
Can I just say one more thing?
Certainly.
I just want to acknowledge Rene, and I want to acknowledge her work with the students. Where are you? Oh, I want to acknowledge your work. I want to acknowledge your innovation, the way that you make literacy about being on the marae, about being about cooking, about being about budgeting, about being about clothing and dressing kids, and finally about our ways, about rāranga, about our whakapapa. I want to acknowledge that about you because you were a very quiet individual who just gets on with the job. So he mihi tēnā nui, tēnei ki a koe. Okay, thanks.
Kia ora, aroha.
That's my sister.
Yay. Great. Okay, that brings our session to a close. Nikki, Diane, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity as Ako Aotearoa and Literacy Aotearoa to be part of this conference. I'd like to thank you, Catherine Hazelwood, TEC, for introducing our session. To Ria, who's a real stalwart in the development of the He Taonga Waka resource, Rene, Babbington, and of course Bronwyn Yates. Thank you very much. Terry, I'm anxious that we're working by the Pākehā clock, which has different notations to the Māori clock, so we'll stick with it and finish on time. Kia ora, everybody.